Welcome to the Met Archives. I'm Peter Clark, Met historian. We have a treasure trove of material documenting Giacomo Puccini's deep history with the Met. Puccini's career blossomed at the end of the 19th century. His operas were introduced to the Met in 1900 and 1901, and audiences were enthralled. Building on the success of La Bohème and Tosca, the Met's general manager decided to add two more of the composer's works to the Met repertory, the recently composed Madame Butterfly and Manon Lescaut. He had the idea of inviting Puccini to New York to supervise these operas, which was a big event because by then, Puccini was the world's most famous living opera composer. The Met offered him 20,000 lira and covered his travel expenses, including a hotel suite and a car. He loved automobiles. Puccini was supposed to oversee rehearsals of Manon Lescaut, but he was delayed by bad weather on the North Atlantic and only arrived the day of the premiere. His ship docked at 5 o'clock. He rushed to the Met, but didn't get there by curtain time. He arrived during the first act, and when the lights came up, he was there in a box seat. The orchestra played a fanfare for him. The audience went wild with applause. And on the stage was the world's most famous tenor, Enrico Caruso, who was Puccini's greatest vocal champion. Puccini wrote home to his publisher, "New York is extraordinary. Manon's first night was almost beyond description. Enthusiastic reception by a theater filled to overflowing. I've never seen anything like it." Immediately after the premiere of Manon Lescaut, Puccini went into rehearsals for Madame Butterfly. Caruso was in the role of Pinkerton, and Butterfly was the young American soprano Geraldine Farrar. She was very attractive and had quite a following of young women who liked her style and wanted to be like her. She was sort of the Taylor Swift of her day. Puccini, however, wasn't that impressed with her. He felt that she sang out of tune. He was even critical in private notes to people of Caruso, who he felt was lazy and didn't want to learn anything. While he was in New York, Puccini had a lot of invitations for social occasions. He hated them, partly because he couldn't speak English. And he also avoided opera politics, like the battle between the Met and Oscar Hammerstein's Manhattan Opera House. But he occasionally would go to an event that was really important, like with the Vanderbilts. He also took advantage of some of these events to dance the night away with beautiful women, which drove his wife Elvira mad with jealousy. She knew her husband all too well. Puccini also spent time with his Italian friends, which were mainly Caruso and the baritone Antonio Scotti. The three of them would go to a restaurant on 34th Street called Del Pezzo's and hang out with other Italian expatriates, playing cards and pursuing other pastimes. In just a few days, Puccini had become the toast of New York, pursued by paparazzi. He was walking along Broadway one day when he saw an exhibition of motorboats and got excited, although he was daunted by the $500 price tag. Thinking fast, Puccini bargained with one of his affluent fans and sold him his autograph for $500. He had the boat shipped back to Italy. Puccini went to a lot of theater, and he particularly wanted to see the plays of David Belasco, one of which was The Girl of the Golden West. It takes place in California of the gold rush times and deals with typical Wild West subjects such as saloons and cowboys. So Puccini was in New York for about 6 weeks. He returned to Italy, to his home at Torre del Lago, a small town on a lake which he loved and where he lived most of his life. And he began to work on his next opera. He actually had in mind to do an opera on Marie Antoinette, but he put that aside and decided to go with The Girl of the Golden West, La Fanciulla del West. During this same time, in 1908, there was a new team at the Met. The head of La Scala, Giulio Gatti-Casazza, and his chief conductor, Arturo Toscanini, probably the most famous conductor of the 20th century. Gatti-Casazza and Toscanini had great plans to bring new works to the Met and world premieres by important artists. And the world's most important composer at that point was Puccini. So when Puccini returned to New York in 1910, he was an even bigger celebrity than he had ever been before. And La Fanciulla del West was the Met's first ever world premiere. It secured the Met's position as one of the world's leading opera houses. The box office proceeds from that night broke records. Tickets cost twice the normal prices, and scalpers sold them for 30 times their stated value. The opera house was full of both Italian and American flags for the star-studded gala, and headlines around the country declared it a resounding success. Before departing New York, Puccini gave a farewell speech. Because of the coming First World War, he was never to return, but his music will always be with us.
Sono veramente grato al gran pubblico di New York per le accoglienze tanto entusiastiche che ha fatto alle mie opere. America forever!